You know, I am not a rich YouTuber, I'm not AI, and I don't have a team, but I think sometimes people assume that I do. And I take that as a compliment because I spend a lot of time editing. I love editing. I get paid to edit sometimes. I'm also a construction worker, a landscaper, and kind of an odd job everywhere kind of guy, and haven't been able to make a living off my videos. But that's not what this video is about. But I think we all find ourselves at this really weird moment in history with the AI content and with the world being basically upside down. And every time I turn on YouTube or Instagram, and I'm sure it's the algorithm learning me, and I do try to seek out more wholesome content, more substance-based content that's not just screaming about all the injustices in the world. And I think there's a place for that, but there is a lot of it, and I feel overwhelmed. I started doing this project about Peter Thiel, and I'm gonna finish that project. I'm not sure what it's gonna look like at this point, but as I started it, it started to sound more and more like other people's work. I mean, what do? You start at the beginning of his life and move forward, but that's been done. And I might still release some of that with the video that I'm creating now. It's definitely in the all over the place. Like, I have just hours and hours of this debatably horrible human being, very interesting human being, Peter Thiel.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir? Any of your connections to Jeffrey? I think people are rather concerned.
All these podcasts and videos and news articles, and I get this obsessive mind, and that's part of what I really like about making videos, is it gives me an excuse to use my super obsession powers and obsess about a singular thing. But I also find a lot of other people have covered Peter. I think I can probably cover him from a different angle, but there is a mental health cost, and within my life, like, my father has cancer, and there's crazy shit in the world. I'm seeing all this AI content rise to the surface. I've even been accused of being AI, which I don't know if that's a compliment for my editing, or I do green screen a lot, or just cut me out of the background a lot, because I don't have that YouTuber aesthetic, as you can see. But my background isn't going to be like all white with a plant, and even if I had the money to do that, it still wouldn't look like that. I would like it more clean, but sometimes it's embarrassing to expose my background, so I cut it out, and then people accuse me of being AI. And who can blame them when sometimes, especially at the beginning of videos, it's tempting to do that old "this is the history of a person or a topic" to get the viewers up to speed, because as an author of anything, you want to assume your audience knows nothing. I know for a fact from projects I've worked on for other people, and even some of the stuff I've attempted on my own, I know it's not up to like par of someone like Johnny Harris, for instance, or Vice, but I do have that ability, and I like to use that ability. But at the same time, it takes me a long time, and with the subject matter that I'm drawn to, it becomes depressing to focus on the people that I'm focusing on. And because I'm trying to grow, and there's something called the algorithm, I want to post more often than that. So when it comes to AI, I'm in the camp of it is a tool that can be used for creativity, and there's a whole bunch of cool stuff that it can do. In my video editing software, for instance, it can silence the background noise and make a voice easier to listen to. And I mean, sometimes you need it to get what you need. There was Moist Critical's video the other day talking about the super pug or whatever. I haven't seen it on my own, but I guess it's really popular, and it takes AI prompts, and they just kind of put them out onto the internet. And I swear some of the comments that he was talking about, like, they were other bots, like talking to a bot that was making its own content. Now, I have a suspicion that that is either a team of people making that, or somebody actually is working relatively hard to get that, because I've worked with AI enough where, it does take a little bit of skill, right? And you have to prompt a bunch, and I bet it costs some money as well to get what they got. But it's certainly not up to the level of like a 3D animator. And obviously most of these channels are in it for the money, which is obviously this huge problem. But at the same time, who can blame them? We need money, and life can be tough. I just wanted to mention those things so you can get into where my mind is coming from, because going forward on my channel, not that anybody cares, going forward, I want to try to focus on more positive aspects of technology, humanity, and the way humans have made technology for the better and used it for the better. Because like I've said in like a million videos by now, technology is a tool that can be used for good or evil, but we should choose to use it for good. And because technology was built on the backs of humanity, we are all part of building technology, and we stand on the shoulders of giants when new innovations are made. People that make new innovations should be praised and rewarded, but nobody should be a billionaire and nobody should be able to monopolize those technologies. That said, my new goal is to find a way to find these more uplifting topics in an entertaining way and try to tell some of the less told stories, or even stories that have been told but in a funner way, in a more positive way, and highlighting some of the great aspects of humanity. So that's my new goal. But I have two projects I'm working on. I'm working on the Peter Thiel one, and I'm working on another one that's more of a neutral, but there's definitely some negative aspects. It's definitely very neutral and probably leans towards the negativity. And I have to work on it myself because I have a whole bunch of scripts and data, right? Like I have my Notion, it's filled with ideas, and some of those ideas have a bunch of work into them. So it's easy to, like, once I'm done with a video, to start another video, or even in between when I'm sick of working on one, I get into the other. And I have like a list, like a giant list of videos that I know probably would get more viewership, or at least easier, I assume. I don't know. My channel like doesn't do that good anyway. Like, these topics are already built out. I've already put in some work in these, so it'd be real easy just to like pick these back up. And I even have a drive to do it because I want to download what I know about these people into everyone, because I feel like everybody should know what Peter Thiel is up to. Because when it comes to like Bill Gates or Peter Thiel or any of these big billionaire types, they've done a lot of talking, wrote books, and people have studied them in different ways from different angles for decades, right? And you have to look at this and then look at that and then kind of like put it all together, because I want to know how they think and what they're trying to do, because that's what's important to us. That's what's gonna affect us in society. And when it comes to Peter Thiel, it's amazing. Like, you can look at the Hulk Hogan situation of the lawsuit and how he funded it in this like crazy conspiracy way that ended up being true, and you can see how he's done that in other areas of the world. And the dude's smart. Like, he makes points, and so does Bill Gates, and so does a lot of these billionaire types. And just because what they do overall is negative doesn't mean everything they do is negative. The world is not black and white, and that's something I try to portray in my life and these videos, is the world is full of color. But it's hard to take that stance, especially on YouTube, where everything is like, oh, like, I just did this and that and whatever, and this guy is the most evil guy in the world. And it's like, no, the world is more complicated than that. Peter Thiel probably thinks he's a good guy, and Bill Gates probably thinks he's a good guy too, or somewhere in between. They're colorful. The way I thought about this actually was because Peter Thiel thinks there's been no invention or innovation in the last 20 or 30 years, and he's sort of been repeating the same talking points. And I think he has some points about a lot of things. You'll have to wait for the video to find out all about that. But then I started to look into, is he right? Was he right about there not being innovations and invention? And he's wrong. In my opinion, he's wrong. Like, there's been all sorts of innovations. It's another story who gets to get their hands on that. If nobody can get their hands on it, if it doesn't help anybody and it just sits in a lab and, you know, only a handful of rich people get to use it and try to live forever, then what really good is it doing for society? Like, subscribe. Anyway, I don't want to just babble on and on. I think you get the point. I'm going to focus on humanity, technology, same stuff I've been doing, but try to push it in more positive ways and try to get my mind fixated on things that are more positive, right? And focus, perspective, because I got enough to worry about. So does the world. There's plenty of people making videos about those topics, and they're very important. I'm glad that they do. If nobody was, I would go back to it, but I don't have to be it, especially when things in my life, like, I have a really good life, but my dad has cancer, right? And there's a bunch of crazy shit happening in the world. And I'm also thinking about doing more videos like this, where I just talk to the camera, talk about what I've been thinking, talk about the stuff that I'm doing on the channel, what I'm thinking about doing on the channel, and just being more open, less scripted, and having more fun with it. Especially when AI can just, like, you know, it can't do what I do yet, but AI is getting closer and closer to getting that Johnny Harris level. Not there yet. But so far, I don't think it's AGI, and even when it is, it's going to be a different kind of intelligence than we are, and it can't compete with me just talking to the camera out of a human brain, or from a human brain. Tell me what you think about all of this. What should I do? What are you feeling? Can you relate? Like, subscribe, and I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you in the next live, but hopefully in the next video.